No one's going to shop with you until they get a newsletter if you constantly send out promotions, because they're always going to be expecting a discount. It needs to be relatively rare.
We interrupt this program to bring you this important message. Welcome to Marketing Interruption, a daily podcast powered by BlueTuskr that interrupts your day with marketing news, tips and strategies from an entrepreneur who lives and breathes marketing. Now, let the interruption begin with your host, Andrew Maff.
Episode number 23, Marketing Interruption, Andrew Maff, host, and go. So today I'm doing newsletters, do's and don'ts. So here's why I wanted to do this one. So I enjoy a good cigar every now and then. So I did finally find a pretty decent company that sells stuff online that I can just order cigars from. And this is not an exaggeration when I tell you I get a newsletter promotional email from them bare minimum 3.5 times a day. I tell you 3.5 because I started actually tallying it. And after 2 weeks, my average was 3.5. 3.5 friggin' emails a day from this company. I actually went to unsubscribe and decided to stick through it because I had to see why the hell they're doing this. It makes no sense. So I'm going to start with the don'ts. Don't send a damn newsletter that many times. Don't do it daily. Don't do it weekly. Don't do it that often. It's ridiculous. If you do a ton, and by the way, I'm talking about, at least specifically for e-commerce sellers right now, promotional stuff. No one's going to shop with you until they get a newsletter if you constantly send out promotions, because they're always going to be expecting a discount. It needs to be relatively rare. Don't be boring. Don't have these ugly newsletters. Like, put some love into it. Make sure that you're, actually kind of giving them something interesting to look at. Make sure the brand voice matches. If you can, try to have it be a little bit entertaining. It's going to be dependent on what your brand voice is, but you kind of want it to be a little bit more entertaining so that they at least read the whole thing, especially your subject line, your snippet, which I'll touch on. Don't just blast out blog posts with nothing else to say. There's a ton of sellers I've found who thankfully are doing blog posts and they're seeing the SEO value of it. And they're like, oh, I got to promote this. Let me just shove it into my newsletter and blast it out. And basically they're just like taking the picture and the title, or the main banner picture, the title, and then just like the first quarter or like maybe the first paragraph, and then doing a read more, and then that's it. And that's crap. Don't do that. Don't go too long without sending an email. So a buddy of mine, while having a few drinks, realized that you can really have some really interesting conversations about newsletters and email lists. So our favorite so far is use it or lose it. So basically, if you don't send out an email enough, people are going to forget that they are subscribed to you, and your email list will die. So you actually need to stay consistent, and you need to send out emails. Don't overdo it, but you definitely don't want to underdo it either. This one really should be under do, but I needed one more for don't. So don't not adjust them. So basically, always be testing, always look at your metrics, test your day that you're sending, test your time, test your subject line, test your snippet, test your copy, your creative, like every aspect that you possibly can, you need to test. Cool? Good. Now, do's. Do make it personalized. Find a way to personalize it without creeping it out. Don't, in a promotional type newsletter or something where it's like, clearly this is going to a lot of people, I opt out of using their name. I opt out of using their company name or using their address or their city or something like that, because they're going to know that it's in most places. But by personalize it, I mean maybe you're doing a product line where maybe you do clothes and you want to do 20% off your apparel, and you're sending this out in April. Your people in the South should probably get more summer-looking creative. Your people in the North should probably get more spring-looking, almost winter, at least the way it's been up here. So personalize it. Don't do that weird crap where it's like, hey, Carl, nice paint job I saw in your house the other day. Like, that shit gets weird and freaks people out. Don't go that route for these types of emails. A/B test everything. So kind of mentioned this in don'ts, and I'm going to mention it in do's too. because you really should just be A/B testing everything. I don't think I've sent an email in 10 years that wasn't being A/B tested at the time I sent it. Segment your audience. So if you're doing that apparel thing I just mentioned, you need to obviously segment out the people who maybe live in the South versus the people who live in the North, or cat lovers versus dog lovers, or truck drivers versus car drivers versus bikers. Like, you need to segment out your audience so that your creative and your copy can be relevant to the audience that you're sending. You could be blasting out an email to everyone, but you want to make sure that the people you're specifically targeting for that email blast are you're at least giving them their best chance of converting by speaking their language and showing them what they're interested in. Make it visually appealing, which still kind of comes from the don't be boring, but there was a couple of things that I really wanted to touch on, where don't make them ugly. Do some nice banners, do some nice pictures, add something to it. I love the ones that are GIFs and can actually like have some movement to them. Be careful overdoing that because it can make the email heavy, in which case it won't open, and that's a whole nother issue. Give the copy some character. So I prefer to try to speak in a brand voice while also tweaking the voice just a little bit, where it's got some entertainment value behind it, whether you're telling a story or you are using some kind of pun or wit or something like that, just so that the newsletter itself is a little bit more entertaining. They may not, whatever you're offering, if it's a sale or it's a product announcement or something, they may not be interested in it. But what you don't want is for them to go, I'm not interested in this, and I'm also not interested in ever hearing from you again. You want them to go, maybe, or obviously this isn't the goal, but at worst case scenario, I want them to go, this is a cute email. I don't really want this product right now, but it's funny. I'm not going to unsubscribe. And then always provide value. Always. If your value is 20%, great. Sometimes other things that I will do to adjust that same type of promotional email where I'm making sure I'm providing value is I will couple it along with a blog post that is relevant to whatever it is we're selling. So for example, we're a couple people who do these like massive like $1,000 floor type machines. And if I'm just sending out like a tool that kind of plugs into the machine or whatever it is, it's kind of like those people don't really respond. Their audience doesn't respond as well as I'd like to if I'm just like 20% off tonight. Like, they don't really care. So what I've changed it into is a blog post about how to do a specific thing using that machine. And we happen to have 20% off those tools that plug into that machine. So it's kind of, I'm providing value. I'm teaching you something new. In this case, it's a B2B. So I'm helping them learn how to make a little bit more money, maybe offer a new service. And obviously I'm trying to get them to convert on the 20% off. But you can do that with anything. There's any e-commerce seller, you can absolutely tie in your written content with your promotional stuff. And so I wanted to mention MailChimp is who I was going to feature today. Love MailChimp, very easy to use, one of the top email providers for a long time. I will say, not the best for e-commerce sellers, only because they don't connect with Shopify anymore. And as a Shopify partner, I rarely use them anymore. But otherwise, if you are not on Shopify, or if you are listening to this and you're not an e-commerce seller, you should absolutely look into MailChimp. Super easy to use, relatively inexpensive, and they've been around forever. Plus, they have SMS and all that cool stuff now. So, yeah, that was it. Appreciate it. Rate, review, subscribe. See you all tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us for today's Marketing Interruption. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show. And don't forget to email marketinginterruption@bluetuskr.com with any marketing questions you'd like to have answered on the show. And head over to marketinginterruption.bluetuskr.com to catch up on past episodes. Until next time, we now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.